Have you ever wondered why people always say reading is important? Maybe you think reading is boring or that it's something only older people do. You might even think, I haven't read a book since I was 15. This is what one of my students said the other day at ELC Bristol. Our teachers try to get students excited about reading. We do this by making sure every student chooses a book to take home. Still, we know that sometimes these books stay unopened for the whole time the student is here. This is because students are often busy with other activities. They might be exploring the city, meeting new friends, or enjoying the various cultural and social experiences our school offers. These experiences are important, but let's explore what reading can add to your life. Reading as a source of enjoyment. First of all, reading is fun. Imagine diving into a book and finding yourself in a whole new world. You could be in a magical land with wizards and dragons, or in a detective story trying to solve a mystery. Books can take you to places you've never been and let you experience things you've never done. This is one of the most enjoyable ways to spend your time. When you read, you also improve your communication skills. Think about it. When you read a book, you see how the author uses words to describe things, tell stories, and share ideas. This helps you understand how to use language in your own life. You learn new words and phrases, see how sentences are put together, and understand the natural flow of language. This is important because it helps you become a better speaker and writer. Building a strong vocabulary. One of the biggest benefits of reading is that it increases your vocabulary. Vocabulary is the collection of words you know and use. When you have a large vocabulary, you can express yourself better. You can find the right words to say what you mean, and you can understand what others are saying to you. But learning new words isn't always easy. You need to see a new word many times before you really know it. Reading gives you the chance to see words over and over again. Imagine you're reading a story and you come across the word gigantic. At first, you might not know what it means, but if you see gigantic in different parts of the story, you start to understand it. You see it used to describe a big house, a huge tree, and a large animal. Soon, you know that gigantic means very big. This is much more interesting than just looking at a list of words on flashcards. Context makes learning easier. Another great thing about reading is that it shows you words in context. Context is the situation in which a word is used. For example, if you only see the word gigantic by itself, it might be hard to remember. But if you see it in a story about a gigantic castle with gigantic doors and a gigantic dragon, it sticks in your mind. You understand how gigantic is used because you see it in action. This makes it easier to remember the word and use it yourself. Books are full of rich, interesting vocabulary. When you talk to people, they might use simple words like big or good. But in books, you find more exciting words like enormous, fantastic, or magnificent. These words make your language more colorful and expressive. They help you describe things more accurately and make your stories more interesting. Learning synonyms and new nuances. Everyday language can be quite basic. For example, we might say, "This is a big house," or "That was a good movie." These are perfectly fine sentences, but they are a bit plain. Reading books helps you learn synonyms, words that mean the same thing but sound different. Instead of saying big, you might say huge, immense, or colossal. Instead of good, you could say fantastic, wonderful, or excellent. Each synonym has its own nuance or slight difference in meaning. By reading, you learn these nuances and how to use them correctly. Books also teach you how to guess the meaning of new words. When you're reading and come across a word you don't know, you can often figure out what it means by looking at the other words around it. This is called using context clues. For example, if you read, "The colossal statue towered over the city," you might guess that colossal means very big, because a statue that towers over a city would have to be big. This skill is very useful because you can't always stop to look up words in a dictionary. Being able to guess meanings helps you keep reading smoothly and understand more. Understanding grammar through reading. Grammar is the set of rules that tells us how to put words together to make sentences. Sometimes learning grammar can be tough. You might have to memorize rules and practice a lot, but reading can make this easier. When you read, you see correct grammar in action. You see how sentences are structured and how different grammar rules are used. This helps you understand and remember these rules better. For example, you might have trouble with past tense verbs. When you read a novel, you see past tense verbs used over and over again. You see sentences like, "She walked to the store," "He was very happy," or "They had a great time." This repeated exposure helps you understand how to use past tense verbs correctly. Reading also helps you with small but important words like articles, a and the, and pronouns, he, she, it, they. These words are used a lot in English, and seeing them repeatedly in books helps you remember how to use them correctly. Improving spelling and thinking in English. Spelling can be difficult, especially with words that don't sound the way they are spelled. For example, words with O can be tricky, like though, through, and thought. When you read, you see these words spelled out many times. This helps you remember how to spell them correctly. Reading also helps you think in the language you're learning. When you read in English, you start to think in English. This is important because it makes speaking and writing in English easier. Your brain gets used to the patterns and sounds of the language. You don't have to translate from your native language. You just think in English. The joy of stories and learning beyond language. Choosing something to read that interests you is key. If you read about topics you enjoy, you're more likely to stick with it. This could be anything: fantasy, science fiction, romance, history, or even comics. When you find a book that captures your imagination, reading becomes a fun activity, not a chore. Books can teach you so much more than just language. They can introduce you to new ideas, cultures, and perspectives. They can make you think about things in new ways and broaden your understanding of the world. Reading stories from different cultures helps you see life from other people's points of view. This makes you more empathetic and open-minded. Reading is important for many reasons. It's enjoyable, it improves your communication skills, and it helps you build a strong vocabulary. Reading shows you words in context, teaches you synonyms and nuances, and helps you guess the meaning of new words. It improves your grammar, spelling, and ability to think in English. Most importantly, it's a fun way to learn and grow. Remember, every time you read, you're not just improving your language skills, you're also expanding your mind and experiencing new adventures. Happy reading. Building a strong vocabulary through reading. Words are the building blocks of language. They allow us to express our thoughts, feelings, and ideas. A rich vocabulary helps us communicate more effectively, understand others better, and engage more deeply with the world around us. One of the best ways to expand our vocabulary is through reading. Reading exposes us to new words, phrases, and expressions in a natural and enjoyable way. Let's explore how reading can help us build a strong vocabulary. When you read a book, you encounter many new words. At first, you might not know what these words mean, but that's okay. The more you read, the more you see these words in different contexts. Repeated exposure is key to learning new vocabulary. Imagine you're reading a book about a young wizard. You come across the word bewitch several times. The first time you see it, you might not be sure what it means, but as you continue reading, you see it used in sentences like, "She was bewitched by the beautiful music," and "He used a spell to bewitch the villagers." Soon, you start to understand that bewitch means to enchant or captivate. This repeated exposure helps you learn and remember new words. Seeing words in context. One of the best things about reading is that it shows you words in context. Context is the situation in which a word is used. It includes the other words around it, the sentences it's in, and the overall story or article. Seeing words in context helps you understand their meanings and how to use them. For example, if you see the word elated in a sentence like, "She felt elated after winning the race," you can guess that elated means very happy or joyful. Context helps you figure out meanings without needing to look up every new word in a dictionary. Learning synonyms and antonyms. Books are full of synonyms and antonyms. Synonyms are words that have the same or similar meanings, while antonyms are words with opposite meanings. Learning synonyms and antonyms expands your vocabulary and helps you express yourself more precisely. For example, instead of always saying happy, you can say joyful, elated, cheerful, or content. Each synonym has a slightly different meaning, allowing you to choose the best word for each situation. Reading helps you learn these words in context, so you understand their nuances and how to use them correctly. Enhancing descriptive language. Reading improves your ability to describe things in detail. Descriptive language makes your speech and writing more vivid and engaging. For example, instead of saying, "The house was big," you might say, "The house was enormous, with towering ceilings and sprawling gardens." Reading exposes you to rich descriptive language, which you can then use in your own communication. This makes your stories, essays, and conversations more interesting and compelling. Building collocations and phrases. Collocations are words that often go together. For example, we say, "make a decision," "take a break," or "do homework." Learning collocations helps you sound more natural in English. Reading shows you how words work together in real sentences. For example, you might read a sentence like, "She made a difficult decision." This helps you remember that make is the correct verb to use with decision. Learning collocations through reading helps you use language more fluently and accurately, improving pronunciation and spelling. Reading also helps with pronunciation and spelling. When you see a word written down, you learn how to spell it. Seeing words repeatedly helps you remember their correct spellings. This is especially important for irregular words that don't follow usual spelling rules. For example, words with silent letters like night or wrinkle can be tricky. Reading helps you remember how to spell these words correctly. Pronunciation can also improve through reading. When you read, you often hear the words in your mind. This mental pronunciation practice helps you learn the correct sounds of words. If you read aloud, this practice is even more effective. You get to hear how words are pronounced and practice saying them yourself. This can help you become more confident in your speaking abilities. Learning academic and technical vocabulary. Reading different types of books and articles exposes you to academic and technical vocabulary. These are words used in specific fields like science, technology, literature, and social studies. For example, reading a science fiction book might introduce you to terms like quantum mechanics or nanotechnology. Reading a historical novel might teach you words like Renaissance or revolution. Learning these words expands your knowledge and helps you understand more complex texts. This is especially important for students, as academic vocabulary is often used in textbooks, exams, and academic writing. Books often explore different cultures and emotions. Reading about different cultures helps you learn words related to customs, traditions, and ways of life. For example, you might read about a Japanese tea ceremony or an African tribal dance. Learning these words helps you understand and appreciate different cultures. Reading also helps you understand and express emotions. Books often describe characters' feelings in great detail. For example, you might read about a character who feels despondent after a loss or ecstatic after a success. Learning these words helps you describe your own emotions more accurately and understand others' feelings better. Reading not only builds your vocabulary, but also enhances your critical thinking and imagination. When you read, you often have to think about what is happening in the story, why characters act the way they do, and what might happen next. This helps you develop critical thinking skills. You learn to analyze situations, make predictions, and understand different perspectives. Reading also stimulates your imagination. It allows you to picture new worlds, imagine different scenarios, and think creatively. This creativity can be useful in many areas of life, from solving problems to coming up with new ideas. Practical tips for building vocabulary through reading. Now that we understand the benefits of reading for vocabulary building, let's look at some practical tips to make the most of your reading time. 1. Choose interesting books. Pick books that interest you. If you enjoy what you're reading, you're more likely to stick with it and learn more. 2. Read regularly. Make reading a habit. Even just 15-20 minutes a day can make a big difference. 3. Keep a vocabulary journal. Write down new words you encounter while reading. Look up their meanings and practice using them in sentences. 4. Use context clues. Try to guess the meanings of new words from the context before looking them up. This helps improve your inferencing skills. 5. Read aloud. Reading aloud helps with pronunciation and comprehension. It also makes the reading experience more interactive. 6. Discuss what you read. Talk about the books you're reading with friends, family, or classmates. Discussing helps reinforce new vocabulary and improves your understanding of the text. 7. Join a book club. Joining a book club is a great way to stay motivated and engage with others who share your interest in reading. It also provides opportunities to discuss and learn from different perspectives. 8. Mix it up. Read different types of books: fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and articles. Each type of text introduces you to different vocabulary and styles of writing. Reading is a powerful tool for building a strong vocabulary. It exposes you to new words, phrases, and expressions in a natural and enjoyable way. It helps you understand words in context, learn synonyms and antonyms, and enhance your descriptive language. Reading also improves your spelling, pronunciation, and understanding of academic and technical vocabulary. It helps you learn about different cultures and emotions, and it enhances your critical thinking and imagination. By making reading a regular part of your life, you can continuously expand your vocabulary and improve your communication skills. So, pick up a book, dive into a new story, and start building your vocabulary today. The more you read, the more you'll learn, and the richer your language will become. Happy reading. Enhancing spoken language through reading. A rich vocabulary is a cornerstone of effective communication. The more words you know, the better you can express yourself and understand others. Reading exposes you to a wide range of vocabulary, including words and phrases you might not encounter in everyday conversation. When you read, you encounter new words in context, which helps you understand their meanings and how to use them correctly. For example, reading a novel set in a historical period might introduce you to terms like chivalry, feudalism, or serfdom. Seeing these words used in context helps you understand their meanings and nuances. To enhance your spoken language, try to use the new words you learn from reading in your conversations. Practice using them in sentences and find opportunities to incorporate them into your speech. This will help you remember the words and make them a part of your active vocabulary. Improving pronunciation. Pronunciation is a critical aspect of spoken language. Correct pronunciation ensures that others understand you clearly. Reading, especially reading aloud, can help improve your pronunciation. When you read aloud, you practice saying words and sentences, which helps you become more familiar with their sounds and rhythms. This practice can improve your pronunciation and help you speak more clearly. You can also listen to audiobooks or read along with recordings to hear how words are pronounced by native speakers. For example, if you read a book aloud, you might encounter challenging words like emerald or ubiquitous. By saying these words out loud, you practice their pronunciation and become more comfortable using them in conversation. Enhancing fluency. Fluency is the ability to speak smoothly and without hesitation. Reading can help improve your fluency by exposing you to natural language patterns and sentence structures. When you read, you see how sentences flow and how ideas are connected, which helps you speak more fluidly. To enhance your fluency, practice reading aloud regularly. Start with short passages and gradually move to longer texts. Pay attention to the rhythm and flow of the sentences and try to mimic them in your speech. This practice can help you become more comfortable speaking and reduce hesitation. Additionally, reading a variety of genres and styles can expose you to different ways of expressing ideas. This diversity helps you become more versatile in your speaking and improves your ability to communicate in different contexts. Understanding natural language patterns. Reading helps you understand natural language patterns, including idioms, colloquialisms, and common phrases. These patterns are essential for effective communication, as they make your speech sound more natural and fluent. For example, you might read a sentence like, "It's raining cats and dogs." This idiom means that it's raining very heavily. By encountering idioms and colloquialisms in context, you learn their meanings and how to use them correctly. To enhance your spoken language, try to incorporate idioms and common phrases into your speech. This practice makes your language sound more natural and helps you connect with native speakers more effectively. Building confidence in speaking. Confidence is key to effective speaking. The more you read, the more confident you become in your language abilities. Reading expands your knowledge and vocabulary, which boosts your confidence in using the language. To build confidence, practice speaking about what you read. Share summaries, opinions, and insights with friends, family, or classmates. This practice helps you become more comfortable expressing your thoughts and ideas and improves your speaking skills. For example, after reading a book, try summarizing the plot or discussing the characters with someone. This practice helps you articulate your thoughts clearly and confidently. Improving listening skills. Reading can also improve your listening skills, which are crucial for effective communication. When you read, you become more familiar with the language, making it easier to understand spoken language. Listening to audiobooks or reading along with recordings can help improve your listening skills. Pay attention to how words are pronounced, the intonation of sentences, and the rhythm of speech. This practice helps you become a better listener and improves your overall communication skills. For example, listening to an audiobook while following along with the text helps you connect the written and spoken forms of the language. This practice enhances your listening comprehension and makes you more adept at understanding spoken language. Practical tips for building vocabulary and word skills through reading. 1. Choose a variety of books. Read different genres and types of texts to expose yourself to a wide range of vocabulary. Fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and technical texts all offer different types of language. 3. Keep a vocabulary journal. Write down new words you encounter while reading, look up their meanings, and practice using them in sentences. This helps reinforce your learning and makes it easier to remember new words. 4. Use context clues. Try to guess the meanings of new words from the context before looking them up. This helps improve your inferencing skills and makes learning new words more natural. 5. Read aloud. Reading aloud helps with pronunciation and comprehension. It also makes the reading experience more interactive and enjoyable. 6. Discuss what you read. Talk about the books you're reading with friends, family, or classmates. Discussing helps reinforce new vocabulary and improves your understanding of the text. 7. Join a book club. Joining a book club is a great way to stay motivated and engage with others who share your interest in reading. It also provides opportunities to discuss and learn from different perspectives. 8. Mix it up. Read different types of books: fiction, nonfiction, poetry, and articles. Each type of text introduces you to different vocabulary and styles of writing. 9. Practice using new words. Try to use new words in your speaking and writing. The more you use a word, the better you will remember it and understand how to use it correctly. So, pick up a book, dive into a new story, and start improving your grammar and writing skills today. The more you read, the more you'll learn, and the better your writing will become. Happy reading.